So bring the meeting to order if I may, please. Sorry, right, I'm going to start promptly because one of the things that we have to be very aware of tonight is that we have a punctual finish also, due to the fact this is a rearranged meeting at the very last moment almost, and this room is to be occupied by another committee at 1900 hours. So we have a time constraint, but I'm sure we can cope with that every autumn. Apart from that, my only other announcements are the usual domestic ones. We are being streamed to the internet. If you have a mobile phone, please disable it, silence it, or whatever that is, please. And anybody who does wish to speak, please raise their hands, and we will take those people's contribution as that occurs. Without further ado, in that case, I wish to welcome everybody to this meeting of the Planning Environment Committee, which is being held as an extraordinary meeting on Wednesday, the 11th of February. Members of the public are welcome to attend and speak for a maximum of 3 minutes about an item on this agenda for this meeting during the public session. Please give your name if you wish to speak. We'll come to that shortly. In the meantime, have we any other apologies for absence, Richard?
Yeah, Councillor Algar for approved reasons.
Thank you very much. I propose we accept that as an approved reason. Seconded, Anna. All in favour? Unanimous. Thank you, by the way, for everybody making themselves available tonight. That's not short notice, and that you can be interested. But yeah, congratulations, everybody. Does anybody have any declaration of interest or a notification to changes of our interests? No. We've all seen the notes of the previous meeting, which was a while back. Everybody's seen and digested that. Anything that we need to say, comments or no? In which case I propose that we accept those as an accurate record. Secondly, please. Marie, all in favour? That's unanimous. Item 5 is clerk's report, Richards.
Nothing much to report, only a response to something from the January meeting where you wanted an update on the Barclays application. The reason it was...
Let's just remind everybody what we're talking about.
Yes.
This is, briefly, that is, we discussed at quite length last time, you might remember, our disappointment at the outcome of the refusal of the scheme before HDC to replace what is currently an eyesore where the Barclays site used to be. And we did seek, we were offered some reasons as to why the objection had taken place. Some of them seemed as if it was worthy of questioning, and we did ask Richard to do so.
Yes, so the main reason being, as you know, we do a bit of flooding around, especially at the moment. And that is the Environment Agency's area of risk of surface water. And as you can see, that red icon in the middle is the Barclays building. No substantial flood risk assessment was submitted with the planning application. So I'm sure you don't do the homework, you don't get the marks.
Others may have noticed, as I did, that one of the other reasons for objecting was that they made reference to the name of an arboreal feature which predominates in this area. I can't remember, Men's, I think it's called.
Oh, the Edgelow Conservation Area in the Men's.
Yes. And that was one of the reasons to object. And it's about the preservation of the wildlife and the trees within that arboreal area. Show me the trees and the wildlife. Right. Thank you very much. That's yeah. Okay, item 6 is the public session, and as I've said, members of the public are welcome, and you are welcome. Thank you very much for taking the trouble to come. If you do wish to speak to us, perhaps you'd like to make that known now. Thank you. We will be talking about planning applications, of course, in detail. But if there is anything you wish to say to us about any particular one, now's the opportunity. When after that, we will discuss it and we will make a resolution. So there will be an input dialogue after your speech. Okay. And if you do wish to speak, do please serve now and please we'll be having them.
Okay. My name is Mark Anderson, and I'm speaking in reference to the application before you for number 3 Station Road, which I live next door to, as does Linda here. So I'm speaking on behalf of my wife and myself. We've lived at number 5 Station Road for 18 years, and Linda, our neighbour, has lived at number 7 to 9 for 26 years. And we would like to object to the proposal for the following reasons. Our houses, that's the two of us, date from the mid-1800s and form part of the older part of Billingshurst, having been originally built as the groom's cottage, housekeeper's house and stables in Cleveland Estate, long gone now, except for our houses, of course. We are neighbours of the applicant, and we share a narrow driveway owned by Mrs. Gander at 7 to 9 that comes out onto a bend on Station Road, and over which numbers 3, 5 and 11 each have right of way. So there are 4 houses, including Linda's, accessing the shared driveway. And this is our only vehicular and pedestrian access in and out onto Station Road. And it's got pretty poor sight lines as you come out onto Station Road, partly because it's on a bend. Since living in Billingshurst, we've seen a large increase in the volume of traffic using Station Road as the primary and secondary schools have expanded and the leisure centre and the Wackoos Children's Centre have been built. The development, as proposed, will pose a real danger to the hundreds of school children, their younger siblings and parents that use the narrow pavements during the morning and afternoon school runs. It really is quite chaos out there at 9 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. Despite the double and yellow single lines outside and opposite number 3, which are rarely enforced, I might say. I can only remember once in 18 years seeing anybody out there moving traffic on. There are always parents parked illegally whilst dropping off and collecting pupils. Station Road is also the main HGV route to and from the industrial estates down near the station. West Sussex Highways do not feel, apparently, that the proposal breaches the National Planning Policy Framework, but we think that if they came along and visited the site at about 8:30 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon, they would probably be of a different opinion. West Sussex has stated that there are insufficient parking spaces in the plans, and this may lead to overspill parking in Station Road and surrounding residential streets. The proposed new dwellings are each 3 stories, and in our opinion, this would lead to a loss of privacy and possibly light as well for houses on the other side of Station Road. And in the application, the applicant refers to these houses on the other side of the road as simply a curved brick wall. And actually, they're 2 houses that belong to real people who are not very happy about this, and I think have objected to the proposal as well. So somebody hasn't done their homework on that. It's definitely not just a curved brick wall. The outside of somebody's house. There will be more noise and disturbance from increased vehicle movements and possibly car headlights shining into neighbouring gardens and windows, particularly Linda's property, I think. The applicant has submitted a tree survey, quite comprehensive, but there is a possibility still that the roots of the ash tree, which is on the development site, and the large oak tree just about a metre off site on Linda's property could both be damaged. Both trees are the subject of preservation orders, and HDC's arboricultural officer has already expressed his concern. Although just outside the site boundary, the enormous oak tree, which is T6 on their plans, will undoubtedly have shallow roots that extend under the proposed car parking area. To conclude, there are strong grounds, we feel there are strong grounds for rejecting this application due to concerns over highway safety, access and parking, trees and landscaping, and design leading to loss of privacy, quiet enjoyment, and as well as overdevelopment, in our opinion. A case for rejecting it on ecological grounds can also be made, we think. How can demolishing a perfectly reasonable house, which was probably built in the late 60s or early 70s, and building in the garden, be good for wildlife, trees, and our environment? Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mark, and thank you for your contribution. Welcome. Right. Having listened intently to that, we will move on to the considering of planning applications. Since that is the one you've just spoken on, we will bring that one forward to the top of the list and deal with commencing DC 25/1946, which, for the record, seeks the demolition of existing dwelling and the erection of 1 number detached and 3 bed dwelling and 1 number pair of semi-detached 3-bed dwellings with parking and facilities, all at 3 Station Road, Billingshurst. At this point, we introduce the fact that there have been, at the last count when I looked this afternoon, 17 letters of representing to HDC, all of which, without exception, are objecting. So 17 at the last count. So demolition of these, of 1 house and the replacement of that with 3 others at 3 Station Road. Let's have a look at the plans in detail.
Right, so here we have the location plan, the outlined red line, including the access road. And then we have the elevations and floor plans of the proposed, that's the 2 semis and the single detached. As you can see, they're all 3 floored as well, rooms in the roof. And that makes the little one. So the reason for the 3 stories is presumably because this is a narrow site and they can't go out, they can only go up. Well, so they're all sort of towards this end. So I can't comment on why they're reasoning for going up, other than maybe just for extra rooms, just capacity. Just maximals. Exactly. Okay. Right. I was just to start.
Comments on the access road, I believe it belongs to Martin. That's what I was.
Yeah, and it's sorry, I'll shut up. It's just that there's 2 at the end. They have to reverse that in front of my door.
Yeah.
So as I read, the access road isn't owned by all of them, so you have right of way over it. So this lady owns that bit. She could stop anybody going down her drive. First of all, and it's narrow, so I did walk past it today, going down to the station. Yeah, very tight.
Yeah, sorry, I agree with you. I think the access can be a bit of an issue, although we can maybe leave that to highways to decide. But it's interesting to know that there was 4, I don't know if you've understood this, there was 4 houses proposed. Are we all okay with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. And because of the tree root, and you can see the top tree on the left hand there, the tree root zone has been extended, and so obviously they've reduced the number of houses to fit that. To me, you see, even that approach of like removing a house because you've been told off by the council because obviously that could undermine the tree is quite worrying. Clearly, they're trying to maximize as many houses as they could. And if you look at the proportion again of, well, that last, no, that you can look at the first, yeah, that's it. The proportion of, thank you. The garden on the far left part. So that's of a decent size. Today, obviously, the house has got an enormous garden, and it's correct. It's got 2 gardens, in fact. But you see the 2 others, and you just, it beggars belief that someone would propose, literally, I think it looks like 5 meters.
Yeah.
We complain about developers doing houses with gardens at 15 meters deep. this is a private individual, obviously wants to maximize as much property as they can on their land. And honestly, I just find it wrong. It's clear from what I've just said that there's overdevelopment there. And that's just enough for me to just say, we can't support it. We can't support it.
I think it's worth noting, David, or backing up David's point in that the applicants sought a principle of development consideration from HDC, which was full of the mention that the site was proposing to be overdeveloped and that they must look to the reducing the quantum of development, which was high on their agenda. Of course, that has now been done. It's done before and that's through. There were a number of other issues within that advice from HDC, all of which were hinting towards the fact that there was too much being asked for.
And then,
So did anybody else?
yeah, well, just to finish on that, so just to finish, I've looked also at the privacy issues of, and again, it's to do with the depth of these gardens, and this is why we impose 15 meters on rear gardens, is because you've got to expect or assume that the other garden opposite will also have 15 meters, and then you add up to, and you've got 25, 30 inches, which is okay. In this case, that's just not okay. It just doesn't work. If you put the houses, and I'm not trying to redesign this, I'm an architect, by the way, to redesign this, but you would have more. In fact, you would go back to how the current house on the existing plan is. So it clearly, it's ill designed. It just doesn't fit what we think should be done there. It's overdevelopment. It will create some real privacy issues because the gardens are just not suitable. And the distances are not suitable between the new buildings and the existing buildings. So again,
Okay, let's hold back for all those thoughts for just for a moment. Anybody else wish to say anything about this?
There is an existing house that has been built there for that reason in that plot with the access around the other houses. Building 3 houses in that particular plot, just, it doesn't make sense at all. It gives you problems with the roads. People in Cleedway are going to have issues with it. You've got the water runoff. That's just going to block all, because there are going to be no gardens there, are there? They're going to concrete it all over. Water is just going to, it's a problem with Station Road, which you've already got anyway.
Anything else?
Completely inappropriate.
Sorry?
Completely inappropriate.
John?
Without them.
Just thinking, so, although I actually agree with developing inside the villages and using the land wisely, but that is definitely too much.
Okay. All right, well, there's a clear consensus.
Yeah.
Do you wish to just run through those lists?
yeah, sure. Let's go ahead.
If anybody else wants to add anything else, but I think it's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah, let's propose
You to make that.
Yeah, sure. Propose that we object on the overdevelopment, the privacy issues, the access issue to do with the shared driveway and the proposed car park, private car parks. Sizes of gardens. I mean, that's enough for you.
Proximity, I think.
Yeah, sorry, yes.
Which is a very important.
The traffic.
Yeah, sure.
Traffic, and the poor sighting on exit and egress of that particular drive. Are also matters to behind, but anything else that we've overlooked? No. So on the basis that that is a proposal to object to this, I would second that and in favour of that resolution. Do we wish to make that a strong objection?
Please, yes.
As unanimous.
We've seen a lot of applications and this one needs to be struck.
So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You don't
May
need,
we
you don't need to stay if you don't.
leave you and
Yes,
for your discussions, but thank you very much indeed.
thank you for taking the trouble.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Spread the word.
Yeah. Did you have them?
Good stuff. Right, shall we proceed with the rest? mentioning now on 260019, which seeks the erection of a front porch and extension. Well, it's been 1946, there's one before it.
2160.
So.
Oh.
You probably got, why have we got?
This is the one which is on. That's sneaky, that is, Richard. Yeah, right. Rewind. We dealt with 25 in 1946. There wasn't any need to bring that forward. Thank you very much. So now, 252160, which does see the erection of a two-story rear extension to the existing dwelling, internal reconfigurations to the main dwelling, a conversion of an existing outbuilding into habitable living space, installation of one number micro wind turbine and associated stuff in work. I'll just go through that again because it's on that. We want to erect a two-story rear extension to the existing dwelling, the internal reconfigurations, and the conversion of an existing outbuilding into habitable living space, and the installation of one number wind turbine. Right. There is one letter of representation that I noticed from the last time I looked anyway, which was in fact in support. Thoughts? Jason?
Yeah, no, sorry, I'm just looking at the layout and the plan.
The turbine's going to be there.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Go down.
Mhm.
Yeah, we got that. I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
No,
It's
it's
30 feet, 33 feet, 10 meters up.
Yeah.
So it's not insignificant, but it's not, no, it's, where is it? It's quite frankly, it's in the.
Yeah. I've got one in my garden, a little bit bigger than this, and there's houses all around. So this one, the sighting of that is.
Okay, so that's the turbine. Now, what about the rest of it? They want to build a two-story rear extension to the existing dwelling. At where are we at?
Existing. I propose.
Which is actually to be clear up in this. Existing ground first and roof. Existing proposed ground and first. Sometimes it's hard to tell between those two sides because they're different position, but
It's
the ground.
Yes.
They've got the area to do it. They've got the room.
That's a whopper, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
They're not over it.
no, they're not. Okay, and they also wish to, well, they've got internal reconfigurations. You can probably escape around that. Conversion of an existing outbuilding into a habitable space. So that means more people.
Yes, that's the existing version of that annex. Into this proposed annex.
What is it now?
Is there not a plan?
Storage of tables.
Bishop.
Currently open storage on the left.
So there is a building there and they just wish to live in it.
Yeah.
It's just on the same plot with the back to.
Yeah.
Left-hand side, so you can see it in.
Yeah.
God, well, if this is to scale, there's no doubt it is. That's also,
That's the side of the house, really.
that's in.
Odd house, but yes.
So this is, will be, that's probably currently it, roughly.
About half of that.
Well, I think it catches up.
Yes.
So it can match.
Right. So they're doubling that and they're putting another thing, but at least twice the size of what they want to put in as an extension.
That's another house.
No. It's an annex. I mean,
Okay, let's get, I know what you want to say about this. Anna?
Well, it seems to me that it's really, no way, it's not really going to be body. we're talking about maybe having more people living in it, but we see that that's.
Because we don't have, as far as we know, there's no given reason to make it habitable. And, that size, it could be holiday accommodation, it could be a number of people,
Yeah.
which would mean more cars and that.
We've got to tie it to the building, tie it to the farm.
That's-
Farm, they let them build it and make it habitable and then sell it off.
Yeah, I'd be quite,
You see, yes, you see what I mean?
I do.
I think you've got to make it as sort of an agricultural tie or something.
It's not much of an
Actually, we can't do that
No.
If you look at it, I would say that.
unless it was to be made exclusively for agricultural workers, but
Quite a few applications currently looking to relinquish their sites for agricultural workers to the property market. However, we have in the past requested a condition for no use of a second dwelling.
Yeah.
If that's what you.
but that's exactly what they want, isn't it?
Well, yes,
Conversion
they
of
put in the
exist-
zoning, but to me, shouldn't be sold off.
Um,
But then perhaps I can't make any,
I mean,
stipulations
Okay,
about
I
it.
think what concerns me is a bit, could this be a house of, could be an HMO house of multiple occupancy?
It's very tricky. You haven't got a clue what's going to happen inside. There's no plan. So did you see a plan? Richard?
I don't remember seeing one.
I don't think there was anything in there. I don't think, frankly, that until you see it like this, that you realise the size of what they're seeking.
I think we need more.
Yes, that seems to be where we're heading.
Mm.
Okay, we can separate this. I mean, we have no problem with the wind turbine, right?
Yes, no.
If they want to go ahead with that, they can.
Richard, can you just show us the plan where we see the photograph? The last one.
Oh, the turbine.
Yeah. Where you can see the land, just to see sort of. Can we give us the right bit?
Yeah, but.
I don't necessarily back. There's a.
Yeah, but that's a barn, isn't it?
It's a barn, yeah. But there's quite a number of buildings, and it's the same when you see the, first plan, we location plan. You can see quite a number of. This is not like lost in the middle of the field. is
No,
it?
the turbine is,
Oh,
but
yeah,
most of it isn't.
That's it.
There's a community.
Yeah, there is clearly. So
No,
you would access this, let's say they would want it to separate, so you have that. Yeah, you'd access
Share that.
this one and then you go through to the next ones. And then potentially, I mean, that's where there's another. This is a access.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so, there are elements to this. The extension to the main building. I don't think you have to do with that, let's park that for a moment. Neither do we with the turbine. But we do reserve judgment, can we do that until we get further information as to the intended use of the not habitable property?
No, I can only object to support or no response to the application and it.
Okay,
More detail.
does it have to be dealt with as a whole, or can we do a piecemeal? Yes, you can have the extension to the house, yes, you can have the turbine, or no, you can't do the habitable space because we think it's overdevelopment. Or do we just, we just lump them all together and object? If that's what we just did.
No, just
There are three elements, aren't there? Two of which we don't have a problem.
Yeah, can we ask a question about the bar?
It was there may be a time constraint on this, this will go to HTC, we should obviously for them to have our commentary upon it, but there may not be enough time for that to come back.
This was ideally due last week.
Yeah, so HTC, I'm gonna deal with this pretty damn quick, aren't
The termination deadline isn't until the 6th of March.
I mean, it's interesting to see that the application is mainly to double the size of their cabin, which then makes it a really substantial piece of living. And then another, it's true that you just think, do you really need 3 times the size of your current house?
Okay, so let's try and encapsulate this. There are the two elements of this which we find difficulty with are both the extension to the property and the conversion of a property into residential housing.
I think it's the cumulative effect impact of these two.
Turbine just happened to get washed into it if we're going to make an objection to it. But it does appear that our objection would be based upon overdevelopment. I mean, you can't say it's a lack of information, otherwise we can't make a judgment.
Yeah, the building itself would be no bigger. The annex. Would you want to take councillor Robotson's suggestion of a suggested condition, second dwelling? The building is already the size it is. So it's not
Yeah.
a case of overdevelopment.
Meaning that we have no objection to the extension to the house, to the existing dwelling, but we
No
do.
objection to the house or to the turbine as we just stated.
Yeah, but we
The
do.
concerns over
Yeah.
the large annex being used as a second dwelling and just ask for a condition.
Okay, that covers it, doesn't it? Because if we don't have a problem with two of the elements, do we? So to object to them would seem rather unfair. Okay, all right, I think that's
Yes, yeah, we can suggest or request that a condition is put in place. Obviously, it's still down to the officer, but
right. Okay, well, in that case, I'll propose that that's the case, if you can word it correctly. Second, please. All right, all in favour of that, as resolution, unanimous, thank you. Right. Now, we get to the claimants down 9, we do. DC 260019, as I previously began to say, it seeks the erection of a front porch, extension and alterations to the front roof line, all at 4 Silver Lane. It all seems pretty straightforward to me.
yeah.
It's making a large house, but they have plenty of others down there.
Obviously, they will do.
Yeah, I mean, in actual fact, again, it's one of these symmetrical things, isn't it?
It's just like filling in.
It's a bit
A lot better.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it still remains such a hodgepodge.
Yes.
So what's happening?
It's with all general,
I think Silver Lane's delightful, but.
Okay, proposal please.
Delightful because it is, I know.
It's true, I agree. Proposal please. Thank
You
you.
don't object.
Second, please. Jeremy, all in favour of no objections? Now, 260023. Seeks the felling of a weeping willow salix, otherwise known as, and surgery to one hawthorn. And it was the name, I have several in my garden. All our brambles, Dorkswood Close, building sites. Right. You've seen the illustrations of this, which appears to show it's really sick willow. And these, and another accurate, the scale and everything. They didn't even use a 2p piece this time.
Oh, yes, that's your first photo.
Yes. Okay, proposal please. No objection, the red for second. And no, all in favour of Jones' proposal, no objection. Unanimous. That's to both elements, of course.
Yeah.
260051. Now then, this seeks the construction of a warehouse to be split into 4 separate units, Class E bracket G, with new internal access roads connect adjoining properties. Just for reminding each of us, Class E G is defined as for any industrial purpose which can be carried out in any residential area without causing detriment to the amenity of the area. So a warehouse split into 4 separate units, all at Renville Oakhurst Lane.
Yes, Chair, so you've got Stone Street across here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Quite a large area, that we're just focusing on up there, yeah. And then there's 7.5 of that. Yeah. So, new warehouses there, and existing concrete rooms just next door.
Very good.
To that,
Indeed.
and that's to,
So it's a warehouse. What is it, effectively a farm, is it not?
Yeah.
Can you show the plan just before?
Yeah, on that term. Is this a new track?
Yeah.
We're still, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Starting, that sort of
Yeah.
thing, small one.
Quite small.
can't read the size on there, but yes, they're not
About
bad.
3,000.
That's the doors
width. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the size of a unit there.
What?
It's a good size.
That might give you a better approximation.
About 3,000.
I mean, clearly, it's, they've got this like roller doors to get, HGVs in there,
One.
or farm machinery around them. Yeah. Okay, what do we think?
Right.
Can you show me the first plan? Yeah. So, do you want to say something?
Mate, go.
All right, so if it was one building with a specific access like they're creating here, so if it was the farmer that they did 2 houses, whatever, it's planned, wouldn't see an issue. Here's going to be 4 different, 4 tenants, 4 customers, 4 parking, 4 deliveries, where are you going to put the cars, the vans, delivery access? There's absolutely nothing there. It's very, very, very ill designed, ill conceived. I can't see it working. It's just going to be an absolute mess of cars all over the place, where no one knows really where to park, where they've got their own parking. So the fact that there's 4 units, clearly they want activity there. Where do you park? And you come onto that track, and where on earth? There's trees there. There's no car park. There's no landscaping. There's no storage for, I don't know, overnight trucks, whatever.
And they see the removal of this, which is already a concrete, concrete base, yes.
I just don't see it.
Okay.
Although the money, I totally agree with what you're saying. That's what I was going to say. There is nowhere for parking or even to turn a lorry.
Get
Yeah,
yourself a van in there.
So, but I'm all for light industrial units or small businesses. And I think we should encourage that. I think, although I object to the way it's planned, I've got no objections. It's principle. Encouraging startup.
Yeah.
units, 'cause we can't all work from a bedroom or a black shop. Yeah, so.
Well, we've made up.
But let's just remind ourselves that the application says the construction of a warehouse. Now, that doesn't suggest to me to be offering employment or activity beyond us storage.
So warehouse would be storage. How do you get a van in there? I just don't understand how
I
you
mean, I'll take your point,
deliveries.
but this is not what I want. What the application before us seeks a warehouse or 4 warehouses. If it was something else, that would be, now, for all the reasons that have been suggested, lead us to have some depots, correct?
Clearly, you might be aware, these small units are very sought after. I know this because I have people calling me, and I'm an architect, so people do call me and ask for this sort of stuff. Small units of 150, 200 square meters. I mean, a car making, a welding, sort of facility.
Or even on small project business.
This, okay, yeah.
I'm just aware of the time.
Yeah, sure.
I think we've discussed it well enough to know that we're not entirely happy about this. So I need a proposal, for instance, from somebody.
Happy to do it. Please, I propose to object on the siting of the building, not its use, but the siting of the building and its facilities, or its missing facilities, lack of design for the access, parking, turning around, and deliveries, basically.
So you didn't actually mention overdevelopment, but that's probably the case.
No, but if you see the size of the plot, it's
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
No.
Would you just need more
Ability around it.
Well, it is defined where, so it's the lack of access.
So your proposal leads to a recommendation to object.
Yes.
Correct. Secondly, please. Jeremy. Now, in favour of objecting to this application, show me please. Right, show your hands again, please. All in favour? All objecting? Abstaining? Motion
I
carries.
mean, it's got to be encouraged to go ahead.
No, okay.
But
The mo- the motion,
It's got to work.
the
It's
motion,
got to work, hasn't it?
the motion to object is carried. On the basis of 260063 seeks the formation of an agricultural access and hard standing at Green Falls, Horsham Road, Five Oaks. Formation of agricultural access and hard standing. I thought this was one which we'd seen before, but we should correct me. It's their neighbour.
It's the neighbour, yes.
So asking much the same.
One of the access here, yes.
Yeah, can't see how
I
they
mean, I propose that we don't object to this. A seconder, please.
Yep.
All in favour of no objection? That's unanimous. Thank you. 26095, erection of a single-storey rear and side extension, replacement of an existing roof covering at 17 Delaware Avenue, please. Okay, back to the other one. Okay, huge internal reorganisation. Yeah, was mentioning that's one thing. Anything sensational about that? I don't think so. So, a proposal, please. Okay,
No,
no objection, thank you, seconded. And all in favour of no objection, unanimous. 260014, surgery to one conifer, works to trees in a conservation area, which is right before us, at Sayers Farm, Stain Street. That's our unusual, no objection, I propose that, second, please. All right, all in favour of no objection. Unanimous. We had some additional planning applications, which probably none of us has had the opportunity to see. Now, they've got 17 minutes left. 252126 seeks the extension of a single-storey detached dwelling annex.
you don't mind being called the
Right,
granny.
okay. Well, that's what they are. What they want. They want a detached granny annex together with a detached single-storey multi-purpose workshop and gym. There's plenty of these around next to that. So a single-storey detached granny annex and a detached multi-purpose workshop and gym at 5 Kingsfold Close, Billingshurst. It's an annex and a gym and a workshop. This inside the bottom, then we go. Yeah. It's in the workshop now. Yeah. Do. Handy for the page plot.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I propose we don't object to this. Seconded, please. Jeremy, all in favour of no objection? Unanimous. 260034 seeks the change of use of the existing residential dwelling, use class C, which is a dwelling, to allow for mixed use and a dwelling and child minding with an erection of a cabin to the rear to replace the existing summer house. So a change of use to the residential dwelling to allow for it to continue as a dwelling, but also to allow for child minding and the erection of a cabin to replace something which exists already. All at 14 Broomfield Drive, Billingshurst. So clearly somebody wants to start a business.
Look, I've had a look at this on today and she currently is a childminder at home anyway. It's a semi-detached property. my initial concern when I looked at it was parking. There's no parking now. She's going to be running it between 8:30 and 17:30. 9 children is the plan.
Okay. 9 children, 9 cars.
But they're only
They're dropping off. They are dropping off. Yeah, dropping off and picking up.
Yeah, and they're going to be doing it at exactly the same time every.
How many people? 9
Children.
9 children. That's a what? 2-to-1 ratio, that's 4 or 5 staff.
No, that's maybe sports or child, isn't childminders, you can have.
Horsham District Council have, no, sorry, West Sussex Council have already given the grants for the building at the other end of the garden, the log cabin, because of the child minding.
Oh,
So
okay.
it fits in with their facts.
All right, okay.
Any neighbours?
No, no.
No objections, no, it's not gone.
Not as of midday today.
Well, in view of what Marie tells us, then, HDC have already been consulted and are clearly in support of the whole, the whole bench.
There's a shortage.
So it's not-
But if the neighbours are not objecting.
Indeed, there are no representatives.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's a good point.
Yeah.
In which case,
So support it, suppose.
I propose that we don't object to this. Second, please. And all in favour of no objection? Unanimous. 260049 seeks the erection of a temporary residential sales area to include provision of parking, landscaping and use of sales cabin, all by a Bellway Homes site. They've given their address as Wooddale Lane. That's where they wish to have this sales cabin, presumably that's the address. Temporary residential sales area to include provision of parking, landscaping, use of a sales cabin from Bellway on Wooddale Lane. So this is going to encourage even more traffic down Wooddale Lane, but it would appear that they want to take the properly second off.
Whilst the application address is Wooddale Lane, the access to the site is actually Hilland Road.
Where there's a flood attenuation.
Yes, which is that road.
Yeah.
But
And this is H9,
yes, where the last.
which is the, well, I thought it was going to be about the hoardings which they put up without permission, but not yet.
No, so that's the site of Hilland Road, and that's the master plan, so the master plan. So that individuals can park up and then go through to the site. We will come around.
Can you show us the master plan to see for it?
That's it.
No, it's really, so why do they say Wooddale Lane?
I imagine,
I think that's probably, well,
so
Because at the moment, there is carriage and access on Wooddale Lane.
that's what they're currently using on the construction management plan.
Yeah.
Access there. The site's address is Wooddale Lane, because that's the nearest public road. However, this is land that's currently on the Divine Homes, as far as I'm aware, which they permitted Bellway to use for access for this.
Yes.
Yes. So. But that could answer the question, what was your question? Sorry.
Why
why would they use that?
Wooddale Lane when it's Hilland?
Oh, right, yes, I think just because that's the address linked with the site that they're currently working on.
I think, well, given where they wish to have the access, it's easy to,
But at least they're not putting the access on Wooddale Lane. Quite happy
No,
about
close
that,
enough.
because they have totally upright. It's not a road.
This is not unusual for any approved development, is it? And that's usually having a sales opportunity. They provided parking off road, there's good access off Hilland Road. Is there any reason to object? I can't see. In which case, I'll propose that we do not object. A seconder, please. Chairman, and all in favour of no objection? Unanimous. 260056 seeks the installation of a profile metal roof overclad, including insulation of roof lights, all at Dorks Road, I have to say that, industrial estate. Prime buildings, Dorks Road, building services. So installation of profile metal roof over clad, including installation of roof lights, installation of roof lights.
We're at the bottom of Dorks Road here, it's the prime, what we call prime building.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, existing and proposed, you know, that's it. It's the matrix. Change the elevation, existing and proposed, we'll sort out stuff will change. On the roof line, it's at the top of the building. Yeah, yeah, so,
They want to keep the warmth. Okay, any comments or
I think there's no objection, we'll object.
is that proposed, Craig?
Yeah, no objection.
Second, that
Thank you.
please. Maureen, all in favour of no objection. That's unanimous, thank you. Finally, on applications. 0123 seeks the erection of a first floor site extension and alterations to cladding for the Bracken Firs View, soon followed. Okay, this must be right on it.
it is literally just on the side of the parish.
Yeah. So the erection of a first floor side extension and alterations to cladding.
There's your current existing ground and first and proposed ground and first, and even trying to remember where this is. Oh, it's on the first floor, it's above the flat roof.
Okay, I propose we don't object. A seconder, please. Kate, all in favour of no objection. That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Please. The planning applications. Right. Moving on. Are you members of the public who wish to speak? No, thank you. Right. So it brings us to item 8 to consider any licensing applications.
No licensing applications received, Chair.
No order to. And item 9 was to consider any nominations for street name requests. So when are the requests?
I have a request here for, finally getting there, for Patrick Perks to be added to the street
Oh, yeah.
list. I will read the nomination quickly. He was chair of the parish council for many years, instrumental in helping getting Jubilee Fields built. Also instrumental in the community centre extension, governed the Wills School for over 20 years, and chairman of the Buildings First Community Partnership for many years. Patrick worked tirelessly for decades in the village and wanted to be for his service to the community. He had the opportunity to receive this at Buckingham Palace, which chose to collect it from God left tenant in the library at the Weald, so that his friends and fellow volunteer colleagues could be part of it.
Very good. Terry, and a well-known name, and before my time, a well-known contributor to Building Service in general. And I would thoroughly endorse that recommendation. Agreed? Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, propose that. Number second, please. Jeremy, I'm going to favour of adopting that as a suggestion.
But I'll add that to you.
It's unanimous.
I'll add that to this.
Right. Item 10. Normally we can dwell on these a little bit, but tonight, fortunately, I find it's saying particular, which is planning conditions. As far as I can see, we have an on this occasion, which has been requested by the venture group. Not one dissension of opinion. So we can quickly move on unless anyone wishes to add anything to that. So appendix B. Appeal decisions, Richard.
That's only a variation of conditions, so I wouldn't spend much time explaining that. It's to what am I going to do? Operational hours, that's so that the Flat Island garage could receive deliveries outside of the hours that have been put in by condition HDC. So obviously it's fine for them to operate within hours, but they can't really push that on their delivery drivers to turn up when they arrive.
Yeah, right. That's great, thank you. Appendix C, there are a list of enforcement updates, which normally we would skim through, but to propose tonight, that we take them away, have a look, and if there's anything that we want to bring back to the next meeting, we can do so.
Yes, so if there's any questions, please do email me. There's nothing to it. So
Happy with that?
Yeah, sure, of course.
So. In the front of. Item 11, the date of the next meeting is now set for the 3rd of March at 19. Thanks very much, folks, and again, thanks for turning up at short notice and inconvenience. Meeting closes at 18:55.
It wouldn't have been necessary, would it?
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Plymouth Parish Council Property Committee meeting this Wednesday, 11th of February, 2026. Item 1 on the agenda is Chairman's announcements. Just note to say this meeting is being streamed to the internet, so please speak loudly and clearly. Raise your hand if you wish to speak. Please, only one person speaking at a time. Mobile phone should be switched off or silenced. I'm just mute myself. Already was. Good. Item 2, apologies for absence.
Received Chairman from Councillor Jones report and approved agrees.
Excellent. And I propose we accept that meeting. Seconded by James. All in favour? Sorry. Thank you. Item 3, to receive declarations of interest and notification of change for members' interests. Anything to declare? No. Excellent. Item 4, approve the minutes of the last meeting held on 10th of December 2025. Any comments or questions on those? In that case, I propose we accept them as a true record. Good second. Sandy, all in favour? Carried. Item 5, clerk's report.
Nothing to report, Chairman.
Thank you. Item 6 is public session. There are no members of the public present. Item 7 is to consider a request from the BSRA for a new 30-year lease. So previously, I think we've given a 25-year lease, but the future grant applications and so on, some of them require a 25-year lease, so there are some of the 30s. Are there any questions or comments on this item? Paul?
If there's no question or comments, just I propose we accept.
Yeah.
Seconded by Sandy. Can I take the second? All in favour? Carried. Thank you. They do a great service, the community, BSRA. It's good to be able to support them. Still over at Jubilee Fields, to consider a replacement of further fishing pontoons at Jubilee Fields, standard appendix C, not appendix B, per the email. Fishing pontoons. I mean, my thoughts is that if they've done work for us before and have been good, it does pose a safety risk. So we seem wise to get them done ASAP. Are there any questions or comments? Paul?
I agree with that, absolutely. If we're considering taking out from earmarked reserves, do you know what that figure stands at?
Oh, if members are, well, at the last month's F&GP committee, members were advised that there's £100,000 in the earmarked reserve for the proverbial miscellaneous repair.
I would say that makes the decision slightly easier.
It does.
I don't know. Sorry, Dan, we got a question.
No, just got my.
I just hold your pen up. It's ready to go.
Keep it elevated.
That's fine.
Pen is mighty and sword, but the
It is
tin
indeed.
is ready to charge.
It's got a sharp point.
Indeed. Okay, so
It's not an e-pen then.
there are two parts to this item that we need to consider. We've had a quote from a previous contractor to do the work, but we're invited to support suspension of the relevant financial regulation. So normally we have to get 3 quotes, but because it's quite specialist, we're being invited to suspend that financial regulation. I don't have any queries or concerns about taking that action.
Only, yes. Only if these people probably have expertise. They are quite specialist things, are they not? I mean, having walked around that today quite literally, most of them are just rotting away. But it's partly submerged, partly on the bank, so there's obviously some kind of specialism in it, and if they've done it before, why not do it?
Agree.
So I propose that we We'll go ahead with the recommendation.
Okay. Proposal's been given. Is there a second? Philip, is that a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favour? So we voted to suspend the financial regulation. With that decision being made, I propose that we approve the works being undertaken with funds from here in our reserves. Second, James, all in favour? Carried. Thank you very much. Item 9, considering the future of the trim trail at Jubilee Fields. Sounds like it's a very ominous item, Greg. The future of the trim trail. I might not be there much.
Well, I wasn't quite sure how to pick a word it. It's a quite another apology, obviously, a bad week for mistakes by the clerk last week. I think that the two reports were virtually so similar and talking about the same thing in the same site. I was getting the numbers muddled up, not that it greatly alters the oomph for the report, but the trim trail on the second paragraph, which should refer to 5 exercise stations, and the cost to replace would be 18,000. It was rather a coincidence that I put 12,900 for that. It was also 12,900. But I don't think it detracts from the magnitude of the.
Okay, so we'll have the update. Thank you. Five stations. Yes. Would that be taking one of the pieces of equipment in the agenda pack and putting one of them at each of the 5 points, or is it multiple ones at each?
Chairman, I don't think, if I may, we have got quite that far, but my understanding, having looked at these sorts of that was just illustrative only, so members could see the sort of thing I talk about. Genuinely buy that sort of stuff in what they call a bundle, so you get like 6 pieces for £3 sort of thing. I think that's the cheapest way of buying it. So it could be that if we take out, say 5 or 5 are due to come out because they're about to drop and fall over, and then we could buy a bundle of 5 and replace on a like for like basis. Possibly guided by someone on the best place to put them. So you've got I don't know, a monkey bar there, an extra monkey bar, or whatever the expression might be.
Okay, James.
I would say, generally, if you're going to have this kind of stuff, it probably makes sense to have it in one place rather than you have to run for 500 meters to get to the next one. I mean, this is more like an outdoor gym. So the stations you're talking about, there's one where there's a obstacle course thing, and there's a thing where you run along and balance things. I mean, I would say we take out the ones that are dangerous and we leave the ones that are still all right. And we can have some of these in a one site and to add to it. I think that's a good association.
Okay.
My observation would be that these look a wee bit airy fairy. So I would say that whatever we go to select is on the basis of nothing being sacred, but we select some very sturdy equipment.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Paul.
Yeah, very good. I'm all for replacing this, and it's obviously a thing we have to consider when we provide stuff in the first place, that we're going to have to replace it at some point. I sort of asked the opinion of Mr. Snowshill, and I do wonder, forgive me, I'm not making assumptions, some of you might be fitness experts, but are we best placed to know what items to put in? I mean, should we not be maybe putting this out there and asking people to tell us what they want there before we invest in the money? That's my only comment, really.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think. I was going to say, I think the one in Horsham Park is in one space, and you can move from item of equipment to item of equipment, and it's kind of like more like a regular gym. So I'm sort of minded to agree with Councillor Marchant on that. But that does throw up issues because the land we lease the land to the BSRA, which would mean finding a piece of land that is still under our responsibility to put it on. I think at this point, I'm kind of minded to separate the last paragraph and to look at us making a decision on not replacing, in fact, removing the items that are damaged, because obviously they present as health and safety risks. So I'm minded to remove them, and perhaps with could we ask the officers to come with some proposals taking into account the conversation we've had here? Do any councillors have any comment on that idea? before we make an actual proposal.
I would say with, with the recreation area in Norfolk Park, is that there is plenty of activity there.
Mm.
So there is an opportunity for,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, lots of it's passing children, and my children end up playing on the fitness equipment, which is there. No, thank you. Philip?
Just a question about if you put all the kit in the same place, won't we need to do something on the ground to make sure that stays safe and doesn't get waterlogged and
Yeah.
got the approved resilience for this activity?
Yeah, I think that would form part of that. We'd ask the officers to go and work on. Yeah, Paul.
I think removing the damaged items is an excellent idea, because that'd be a great way of people, when they notice things being removed, they're soon going to tell us, I'm sure. But yeah, given it's possibly going to come back to the committee subject to that proposal, yeah, why not put something in the village tweet as well in the meantime, just see if it creates any comments, and at least we can then say to people, if we put stuff in later, they say, what can we put that in there for? At least we can say we passed.
Yeah, well, it's good community engagement with the council as well. It's good for us to do that, James.
And I suppose we should also consider if Jubilee feels the best place for that sort of look at and or if there are others like it's a good question.
Andy?
I quite like the fact that it's spread out on a walk because it makes you walk to the next bit. Because I've been out with my grandchildren, I mean, they are big grandchildren now, but when they were smaller, they liked the actual walk.
Yeah.
And you know, what's the next thing, and have a go on that, and then move on to the, and it does make people walk from one to another. Having it all on one place, I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I'm not really sure.
I think
That's just
yeah. I think it's
looking
helpful
at
to have
it
those
from another's
comments.
perspective.
And I think that we're not making a decision on that.
Yeah,
If we
absolutely.
propose that.
But the equipment, yeah.
So I would propose that damaged equipment is removed as it reaches the end of its life, for the sake of health and safety, and that the council officers go away and do some research and come back to councillors with a proposal once we have interacted with the local community. Do we have a second? James, thank you. All in favour? Carried. Thank you. Item 10, to receive property updates or information only. Any questions or comments on the officer's report? Good news to hear we have a new environmental operative, and this sounds like it's working well. He's doing very well.
And good news to see the little buggy out and about in the parish
Oh,
again.
yeah.
I've been confined to the garage for a while, so saw that today in 5 Oaks.
It was a shame to hear about what was happening to Cedars Farm. On the councillors, the drone footage of the site, and it has been absolutely annihilated, which was a shame. Sandy?
I can comment on that because I brought it up with the Washington District Council last night
Okay.
at the end of the meeting, and said that it was a shame that we didn't know that they were coming. They profusely apologised for that.
Good.
And they've said that they cleared it on the understanding, because that's what they didn't ask you to clear all the stuff out. So they cleared it all on the understanding that it will all grow back. If it does not grow back to the way we would like it, they are more than happy to come and do some replanting.
Okay.
That's what they offered last night.
That's
And
great.
Richard.
It'll be great to get that in writing to the clerk as and when we can. But good to have their apology on record.
Well, no, they did apologise to Richard and I at the end of the meeting.
Good.
We didn't quite challenge them on it, but we did.
Raise it.
Yeah. Not in the public arena, but afterwards.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Otherwise, we'll consider it noted. Thank you. That concludes our meeting. Final item is the date of next meeting, which is the 8th of April 2026. Thank you, everyone.